Hey, what's up, guys? This is Rockman Blake from How to Be a DJ, and I'm here with Soha, one half of the Adam K and Soha duo. Soha started playing professional music at the age of 15, and then moved into DJing and producing, focusing lately on progressive house. And he's earned international acclaim with hits like Twilight, which have remained on the Beatport's top 10 for over 2 months. And he's also remixed the likes of Refleks for Need to Be Loved and my personal favorite, Kaskade's 4 a.m.
Pleasure to be here.
Good intro?
Good intro, good one. Yeah, man.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of questions. I usually just start from the beginning.
Sure.
What, an obvious one, like what made you get into music and electronic music specifically?
Specifically, well, music has just always been a part of my life, even before I kind of took it on professionally. So it goes without saying, as far as crossing those boundaries into electronic music, I guess you could say, the people know my work for all this, the EDM, but there was always a movement before that, back whatever 80s or whatever. Sorry, man, I'm just gonna cut this shit out. But I'm, I kind of got into it like mid 90s with like the sample manipulation kind of stuff, and more on the hip hop, trip hop kind of vibe, and took it from there. And there was a lot that I learned from that. I've always approached things as a musician, but
Right.
then when you're taking clips of other people's work and chopping it up and rearranging it like a puzzle, you'd be surprised at the melodies that you just come up with that naturally, most musicians would probably admit this unless they're in a zone. They'll sit at the keyboard and they're kind of bound, or keyboard, whatever their method of getting out their messages is they'll sit at their instrument, and right away they're like bound by these patterns and things that they see that kind of push them in a certain direction. And I think there's the zone where it's just like that gets thrown out of the door, and on the spot you're just coming up with new stuff, whether it's improv or whatever. But I find that definitely happens in the studio as well. But getting back to your question, as far as this EDM thing, to be honest, it was the tools, the skills, everything was there, and it was just really a matter of an opportunity. The sound was kind of getting to a point where I actually could identify with it from a lot of the stuff that I was hearing. And I had been working with Adam for years, even before that.
Right.
And he had his label set up on Beatport, and we were doing tracks together, and we just got onto something. We just knew we had it, and it was just really a matter of luck. It was an overnight thing out of from one track that we put out there that we just thought
Which track was that?
This was actually Twilight.
Twilight, okay.
Yeah, we had a couple before that, but they never really caught on. But Twilight, we put I was just happy to just get it out there and hope people can hear it, because
Right.
I really felt like it was even just musically, chordally, there was a simplicity to it, but also I dig through the crates, and it was the harmonic structure of it was still new, it was fresh,
Right.
And
So you
sorry.
started off as a DJ or producer, or
No, more as no. I started off as a producer, and the DJing just goes along with it. It's I think a lot of people would agree that it used to be the other way around. The DJs would always play the circuit, and then to big up their name, they kind of jump in the studio or whatnot. But these days, you really, if you want to be DJing, outside of your own city, you gotta have some solid records under your belt. And so that was pretty much the beginning of the story. And from Twilight, we just got flooded with the world came at our fingertips, big names, all this and that, and we just kept doing other remixes for bigger guys.
That's great.
Yeah.
So how does that work? You basically were in the studio, you kept churning out songs, and then one of them just caught on, Twilight.
Yeah, really, it was as far as the dance music, it
Mm.
wasn't like terms made that was in that vein. Like we had a whole slew of, like, we were working producers. We did whatever we could to, like, from jingles to, like, okay, do an ad here, and anything that just kind of brought us like some income.
Right.
And I like myself doing this for a while. I just thought, like, doing this, as long as you've read in my biography,
Hmm.
it kind of just boils down to, if this is what you love to do, you're gonna have to make a living doing it.
Right.
And you gotta find avenues to do it and be satisfied with your work. So with that whole prog vibe that was coming along, it was beyond that, like, loopy kind of stuff that, for some people it's a little bit hard to digest.
Hmm.
It was musical. There was chordal elements to it, like, I can let loose and kind of experiment with different harmonies, but
Hmm.
still, there was some boundaries I had to stay in.
And
And
this is for progressive house.
yeah,
Okay.
specifically for the progressive house. It had evolved with, obviously, the help of guys like, like Dead Mouse and stuff.
Hmm.
And it just, it's kind of moved away from even just being house. It's just music, man.
Just music, yeah.
Yeah,
I hear
yeah.
that. I hear that a lot when I'm talking to DJs and producers, and they're saying, like, it's almost like the fans and the critics that try to pigeonhole DJs. Okay, this is drum step, this is progressive house, and it makes it easier, I guess, to sell music or even to promote shows. This is going to be a dubstep show.
Sure.
But when you talk to a lot of the artists, it seems like they're saying, like, I don't really put myself in a genre, and I don't say that I do one type of music. Do you find that it makes it easier for you to be creative if you're saying, like, all right, I'm not just progressive house, I'm just gonna create good music? Does that help you stay creative? Or
It really, really does. But I've learned the hard way that, like, sometimes I listen, like Twilight, it crossed some genres and stuff like that. But
mm,
it's really about, like, promoting too. Like, if you really say take techno,
mhm.
and take it back to, like, shoot, when I was, like, hearing it back in the '90s or mid '90s, it sounds nothing like the techno today. Like, they're just completely different kinds of music. I honestly think it was just done so people can just kind of push this new sound, and
Mhm.
kind of, I don't want to use, like, harsh words here, but kind of being an imposter to the genre. And, like, I
Mhm.
mean, but I love it. I love the new techno that's coming out right
Mhm.
now. And, just traveling around the world, just like recently, say tech house in Asia isn't tech house here. Like, every area's got their own little idea of what these genres are. So,
Uh-huh.
basically, you just find the thing that's the closest to it, and go there. I mean, I don't
Mhm.
think progressive house sounded anything like it does
Mhm.
now than it did back then.
So yeah, that makes sense. A lot of it is promotion. People saying, like, okay, we're gonna just give this label and then do a party or a mixtape or whatever around this. And but in terms of, like, producing, try not to stay too attached to that.
I stay completely away from that. And,
Hmm.
I mean, but what genre do you put it in? There's electronica, but even there's some boundaries and some rules. And,
Hmm.
I mean, ideally one day, hopefully, I can just be an artist that can be accepted for doing something other than progressive house.
Right. I'm a musician. Well, what do you spin?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
spin music, motherfucker.
yeah.
Come
You
on, man.
nailed it, man. Yeah, you nailed
But speaking of promotion, there's, like, with Facebook and SoundCloud and all this stuff out there right now, it just seems like so easy to get a track out. How much time do you spend on producing versus, like, marketing your stuff now?
You know, I don't know, maybe if I'm getting older or whatever it is, but, like, I used to, like, and I still do, like, when there's something I'm really into, like, I don't eat. I sit in the studio, like, I haven't seen the sun in days, and I won't, like, until I get that thing out. It was always my approach. I mean, it's not that, when you're into something, you do that, burn out for a few days, and then get back on the horse and keep going. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so, how it started off with us, the stars just aligned. Like, we put out a track with very little promo, and it was a good feeling, because even back then, the market was flooded. Like, there was just so much music out there that to stand out, it seemed like a shot in the dark. But, the music that people like stuck out. Like it won that battle, you know. So you know, that was a rare scenario, and that was what, like 6 years, maybe five years ago. And since then it's gotten crazy. Like even with the SoundCloud, with the programs being more user friendly to use, like you know, the music's pretty much done for you, just plop and drop, you know. But man, like it really has lost its human soul, because where are the modulations, like where is that human edge that that says I'm going to do something different than what like the wallpaper stuff, you know.
So for you, for marketing, you just worked on creating a good, unique song, a good, unique product, and then it more or less marketed itself.
Yeah, yes. I mean, you know, with the help of like some bigger labels, they obviously have their promo machine intact, and you know, myself, like having worked with, like, you know, with great artists, great DJs and stuff, and you know, you know, it's opened a door for me to be able to get my music out there, and you know, expose other people to hopefully give them a chance at these guys. And
how many emails do you get per week, like people trying to send you their tracks and whatnot?
You know, like a lot. I honestly haven't made a count, but it's great. You know, I do enjoy sitting there and listening to people's work, because you know, there's always that time where I'm just really like shocked and impressed, and I can see that this kid's gonna be something, you know. And you know, I mean, in my own work, I like to surprise myself, and you know, having just heard music all the time, and then having that one kid send me a demo of, like, holy moly, this is cool. Like, where's this kid coming from? You know. So no, I listen to as much of it as I can. I really enjoy it. You know?